There are shots that do more than change a score. They rearrange a memory.
Rebound Bosch, back out to Allen, his three-pointer, bang!
June 18th, 2013. The Spurs are one defensive stop away from the title, the clock drips, and a Heat possession feels like a small, fragile emergency. The ball finds Ray Allen on the sideline. He steps into a corner where angles live. The triple comes off his hand with a clean wrist, and for a fraction of a second, the world seems to hold its breath in geometric disbelief. The three hits. The arena erupts. The series, at least for a night, refuses to end. That one basket, a corner three with 5.2 seconds left in Game 6 that forced overtime, is the kind of single-frame sports editors freeze, loop, and turn into legend. It is not just about a made shot. It is the sound of a lifetime's practice aligning with the thinnest possible margin of opportunity. Start there and the story becomes immediate. But the moment only lands because everything before it arranged the possibility. The college shot routines, the rookie years learning how to create space, the seasons of practice that taught a shooter to be patient and precise. Ray Allen's path was not a sudden firing. It was a long, meticulous construction. Born July 20th, 1975, he grew into a player whose entire identity was measured in the microphysics of release, the flick of the wrist, the foot placement, the angle of the elbow. Drafted in 1996,
with the 5th pick in the 1996 NBA draft, Ray Allen from the University of Connecticut.
And entering the league as a skilled but under-forecasted scorer, he would become the archetype of a modern shooter. A threat whose presence reshaped defenses and whose mechanics were studied in every gym that wanted to teach a new generation how to make clean shots under pressure. The arc matters because it shows how a role can become legend. Early seasons in Milwaukee gave Allen his NBA baptism. He arrived as a young scorer who could stretch the floor, handle the arc, and quietly command space without theatrics. As his game matured in Seattle and then Boston, it gained layers. Off-ball cuts learned from running with stars, timing polished by playoff minutes, and the cold logic of a shot that could be taken when the clock constricted the world. By the time he arrived in Miami in 2012, he was more than a shooter. He was a clinical option on teams that demanded clarity in crunch time. Those teams, both Celtics and Heat, used his shot differently, but the constant was the discipline of the mechanic and the willingness to take the exact look the moment needed. There's a technical religion to Ray Allen's work that few players have cultivated. He built his release around an almost scientific repeatability. Feet, balance, catch, one dribble or none, elbow high, wrist snap, follow through. It seems simple because he made it so, but the simplest motions are often the hardest to repeat when the arena hums and a championship aches in the balance. Study his routine in the 2013 finals clip and you'll notice small, perfect things. The way he sets his feet without telegraphing the shot, the minimal hitch in his catch that aligns shoulder and wrist, the eye-level focus that ignores the crowd. That kind of automaticity is not flash. It's the accumulation of thousands of repetitions that survive the pressure of the moment coaches teach timing. Great shooters internalize it. Allen did both. But the story is not only technique, it's choices and culture and friction. Ray's move from Boston to Miami in 2012 was more than a roster decision. It became a narrative rupture. He had been the older half of Boston's championship nucleus, a steady hand alongside Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett, and then he joined LeBron James and Dwyane Wade in Miami. For Celtic fans, it was betrayal. For Heat fans, it was an upgrade. The trade reframed Allen's career as a study in trade-offs, legacy and hometown love versus the hunger for another ring in a late career window. The move shows how legends are negotiated socially, not only technically. It also meant his great moment in 2013 came with extra narrative friction. A former Celtic drilling the shot that salvaged a Heat championship. The image had all the emotional texture a sports writer could want. Context enriches the pure image of the shot. Game 6 was not a one-off cinematic flourish. It arrived at the end of an enormous tactical contest. The Spurs were a disciplined ball movement machine, the Heat an explosive, star-driven force that needed grit from its role players. Miami's alignments in that series asked shooters to be patient and ready. Allen's presence in the corner forced San Antonio's defense to respect a threat that would punish any sag. The Heat's set on that final possession was not improvisation. It was rehearsal. The play was designed to move the ball into the corner and present Ray with a catch and shoot that his muscle memory would convert. When the corner three hit, it felt both miraculous and inevitable, because the team had prepared for such a geometry thousands of times in practice. Comparisons help sharpen the meaning. When the conversation turns to clutch shooting, the names that arrive first are often Reggie Miller and Ray Allen, two shooters whose careers are defined by the intersection of craft and nerve. Miller owned small, explosive bursts in great moments. Allen added a clinical regularity born of mechanics. Then think of Steph Curry, who later expanded the court with range and quick release to such a degree that the very idea of spacing shifted. Allen's legacy sits between those poles. He preserved the old school's attention to form, Miller's corner traps, clutch sequences, while offering a modern shooter's efficiency that Curry would amplify into an era-defining template. There is also a personal theatre to the comparisons. Journalists love tidy plots, and Allen's career, from shooter to champion clutchmaker, makes a neat one. But the truth is messier and better. Ray's arcs intersect with teammates, coaches, and opponents in ways that reflect how teams actually win. The human side of his career is full of texture. In Boston, under Doc Rivers, Allen learned how to be the perfect complementary star, take the open shot, move without the ball, and accept the tiredness of playoff toll for the sake of a ring. In Miami, under Eric Spoelstra, the script changed slightly. More emphasis on protecting the corner as a value, on timing and rotation that treated a corner catch as a high-leverage possession. His teammates, Paul Pierce's grit in Boston, LeBron's gravity in Miami, Dwyane Wade's slashing tempo, made Allen's job clearer. They demanded that he do what he did best, and they oriented themselves so his shot could be the punctuation mark they needed. Those are the interpersonal economies that make sport a team craft, rather than a solo show. Not every great career is without complication. Critics will point out that Ray's career numbers, while excellent, do not reduce to clutch alone. Longevity and consistency across seasons are also central to his case. He was a 10-time All-Star, a shooting champion, and an elite corner shooter across eras. He also dealt with the media's fickleness, adored in Boston, vilified by some for joining Miami, then later celebrated again for sealing a title. The public's memory is a pendulum. Ray's career shows how a single image, a three, a handshake, a trade, can swing opinion. The honest reader understands that all sports memories are partly shaped by narrative convenience. We want single frames to stand for whole lives. Allen's life resists that reduction because his career was both episodic, that iconic three, and cumulative, 18 years of elite shooting. Tactically, the Allen frame teaches us something practical about modern basketball. Spacing is not only about where shooters stand, it's about how defenses must distribute attention. A genuine corner threat makes double teams riskier and rotations slower. The opposite is true too. When a shooter loses confidence, entire teams change stance. The measurement is in opponent field goal percentages, in the ability of stars to penetrate lanes without immediate help, and in the small rebounding and late clock decisions that determine a game's last 2 minutes. Coaches used Allen as a stabilizer, a player whose presence loosened the defense and whose shot could close doors on opponents. In chess terms, he controlled the corner squares. That is why his late career role mattered so much to teams chasing championships. Not because he demanded the ball, but because when he got it, defenses had to respect him. The legacy question is porous. Is Allen the best shooter ever? Debates will rage. Some point to his three-point total and his role in big moments. Others point to Curry's transformative range and volume. History may prefer subtle categories. Allen is among the best pure catch-and-shoot specialists, the player whose technical purity made contested shots more routine than rare. His moments, the 2013 corner three chief among them, are inflection points in modern basketball lore. They teach coaches, they inspire young shooters, and they become the clips 100 highlight reels start with when explaining how championships hinge on tiny margins. And there are the quieter images that explain more than highlight reels ever could. Picture Allen years before the Heat celebration, practicing corner shots in empty arenas, or a pre-game routine where teammates watched a player make the same motion until it became indistinguishable from breath. Those small rituals are the scaffolding of championship moments. The big shot is only the visible tip of a subterranean architecture of hours. For young players who mimic his form in driveways and gymnasiums, the important lesson is not glamour, it is repetition. For coaches, the lesson is design. Build systems that put your specialists in the exact spots where their practice motion becomes decisive. Allen perfected both. Finally, the human coder. Ray Allen retired with 2 championships, a Hall of Fame candidate career, and a sequence of shots that will be used to teach shooting for generations. He closed the final chapter not with a single highlight, but with a long, patient career that disciplined a craft into a useful art. If the 2013 3 is the cinematic high point, the rest of his life, the trades, the practices, the seasons of consistency, are the explanation. One makes a highlight, the other makes a life. And sports, at its most honest, values both. So return once more to that corner in Game 6. The ball left his hand with a kind of mechanical calm that betrays nothing of the pressure it fell through the net. For a night, the Spurs script was paused. For a generation, the image will remain. An object lesson in how the smallest action, the practiced repetition of the wrist snap, can revise a whole season. That is why Ray Allen's story resonates. Because in a sport that celebrates heroes and epics, sometimes a single perfectly made thing is enough to teach the rest of us what practice really does.